With university move-in underway and just over a week to go now until kids are back in the classroom, many students are quietly wondering, will I fit in? Am I going to make any new friends? Our next guest is a globally recognized inclusive leadership expert, also a mother of three, who's here to share some tips on helping your children foster friendships this morning and the school year. Let's bring in Karen Craggs. Welcome to CP24 Breakfast, Karen.
Thank you.
I was just saying to you off camera, such an important conversation because it's challenging for kids right now. I mean, a lot of them are communicating online. That face-to-face can still be a little bit uncomfortable. Why is it so important we have this conversation now?
Well, as you said, a lot of children and people going to university are still nervous and they need to develop the skills and they need a bit of help. And I think this is a great time to start having those conversations and skilling them up.
So for the parents watching right now, what can they do? What can we start in terms of the conversation at home before they do walk through the doors at school?
So the first thing that I would say is help our kids move from a passive mindset to an active mindset, which means that they don't wait for someone to help them feel included. They actually become what I call super connectors. So you decide ahead of time, I'm going to be the person that connects with people, that breaks the ice, and that develops the friendships. And that mindset alone can make a big difference. And then the second thing that's really important is helping them build skills. So we'll start with the little things like remembering eye contact, smiling, having little questions that help break the ice in your back pocket. Can I sit here? I love your jacket. Someone actually just said that to me. And it opens a conversation and makes it much more natural to make connections.
Yeah, I feel like even adults could use those tips sometimes because,
Absolutely.
you know, it's true. A lot has changed over the last couple of years in how we communicate and what we kind of rely on to talk to people. But something as simple as eye contact or thinking, oh, what kind of conversation can we use to carry this on can be so helpful, especially for someone who's nervous.
Yes, and as you said, adults need the same skills too.
Super connectors, do you think that really resonates with youngsters? I'm thinking of my daughter, she's only 6, and I feel like she would think that's a cool kind of word to throw around. Do you think that's
Absolutely.
helpful?
I mean, I've done mindset work and coaching, and one of the things that we understand about all of us is that we think in images. And so one way to think in images is to create a metaphor. So imagine if this was one of your superpowers. I walk into a room and I make people feel like they belong. How cool is that?
Yeah. How important is it to start this conversation when they're young?
I think that conversation should be all the time, but especially when they're going through transitions, because the fear keeps them up at night, the night before school. They're so worried. Will I belong? Will people accept me? Can I be myself? So having these conversations on a regular basis, but especially as you're leading into change, is really important.
And just opening up about that can make a difference. Like I remember looking back before the first day of school, I was nervous. You know, what's this year going to look like? Will I be included? Am I going to be by myself at lunchtime? You know, those are really real fears. But if someone talked about it with me, I bet I would have felt a little differently.
Yeah, I think so. And, you know, I wasn't born and raised here, so I had the added experience of coming to a new country when I first joined university. And so I can tell you that the fear of not belonging is huge. And what made a difference for me was people who came and knocked on my door in my dorm and said, hey, we're going for dinner. Do you want to join us? And I thought, you don't even know me. But the fact that they made that effort opened up relationships that have lasted years and years.
Yeah, it makes such a difference. Okay, let's talk about your program. There's some guides that people can follow as we go through the next week or so.
Yes, so I talk about a 4-part framework called CARE, and it's based on research that shows that when we connect with our kids, even if it's a 30-second check-in every now and then, we actually help them become confident in their ability to be empathetic and to make connections. So CARE is about connection. How are you doing? How is your day? How are you feeling? A is about acknowledging their feelings, whatever they are. We don't make them wrong. We just say, I hear you. And then R is about really relating to them and reflecting to them, like zooming out. So this is how you're feeling. I'm sure others are feeling the same or even more so. And then E is about empowering them. So what's one thing that we can help prepare for ahead of time? Let's practice some things you can say. Can I join you at lunch? I love what you're wearing. You know, what's your name? Tell me more. Can I learn more about the game you're playing? So just practicing that and empowering them ahead of time.
I think that's so helpful. Even those little tips and having that conversation with your kids before school. It sounds like it could really go a long way. So we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about this, Karen. Thank you.
Thank you so much.